You're listening to WMPG 90.9 Gorham, Portland, Southern Maine Community Radio from USM. Live from the Orion Cygnus arm of the Milky Way galaxy, this is Scientifically Speaking, a weekly half-hour program devoted to elegant curiosities. And I am one of your hosts, Sarah Chang, and joining me, as always, is Bernie Rhyme, DJ Star Watcher. How are you, Bernie?
Yes, hi, Sarah. Very good, thank you.
Bernie's our professor of the astronomy lab here at USM and our local protector of the night skies. Reach out to us at WMPGScientificallySpeaking@gmail.com or on Twitter at WMPGSciSpeak, and you can head over to WMPG.org to find the last 5 weeks of archives of all of your favorite shows, including this one. Bernie, could you let our listeners know what is up in the night sky for this coming week?
Yes, certainly. Okay, so this will be Friday, April 29th. This will actually be the end of International Dark Sky Week. It was the last week in April based on the new moon coming up tomorrow, the 30th. So we're close to a new moon. So that's always interesting to kind of see what people can do to have, better lighting and not create so much light pollution for the sky. So just to make more people aware of that. Just like we had International Earth Hour on March 26th, and people could turn the lights off for an hour to kind of follow that to involve more people with this. So basically you have a very thin waning crescent moon. You can probably barely see it just before sunrise because it's new moon tomorrow. So you'll probably see some earth shine on the other part of the moon. And all the planets are still in the morning sky. Venus is the brightest one. It's 100 times brighter than Mars or Saturn, which would just be to the right of Venus. And Jupiter will be below and to the left of Venus. So all the planets are in the morning sky. The days are getting longer. The sunrise is 5:37 now and doesn't set till 7:40. So they're just over 14 hours. And we're just about halfway into spring. May 1st is officially the halfway point. There's one of those cross-quarter days. So we're doing that, halfway there. Days getting longer, and the James Webb Space Telescope is on track. It'll start getting some good images in June, and everything's going well. The instruments are cooling, the mirrors are focused. So we'll keep looking for that, and we'll do a whole show on that later. Yeah.
Awesome, exciting.
Yeah.
And if you couldn't take notes fast enough, you can also check out the monthly What's Up column in the Portland Press Herald. Thanks, Bernie.
Yep.
As you all know, Scientifically Speaking is your weekly dose of science here on WPG, and we try to pack as much as we can into 30 minutes. So welcome to another episode here, and we are graced with the presence of Vukasin Vignjevic, who last joined us as our correspondent on decentralized technology back in 2020. So welcome back, Vu.
Thank you so much. I'm happy to be here. Very excited.
Yeah, so it's been a minute since we last, obviously had you on and last talked about this just great burgeoning topic, and have a couple things to kind of start off with, because this was my intro for you last time. The first thing was that you are a lifelong athlete with a love affair with basketball. Is that still true?
Oh, absolutely. Yes. I still take time out of my days to go out and play basketball 2 times a week. So
That's awesome.
I
That's great.
forever.
And what's different since the last time we had you on?
I don't feel like a lot is too different. I've completely indulged into the blockchain space. I'm a full-time market researcher and a consultant for different artists locally with NFTs. And on a personal level, I invest in the blockchain industry, and I thoroughly enjoy it. I've
That's
found
awesome.
a career path here, and I hope to continue that moving forward for as long as I can.
That's awesome. And that's so perfect, because when I reached out to you, I was just like, well, he, obviously knew a lot about decentralized technology. There's this NFT thing that's new. Maybe he'll want to talk about it. And we learned that you are like fully in it. Like you're actually in it, which is great.
Yes, I'm fortunate enough to work with some really cool artists that produce amazing work, and I'm helping them complete the process of keeping their intellectual property rights even when it hits the blockchain. So it's just a great time for creators because of blockchain technology, and what NFTs do to help individuals is such an immense power because there's a ledger that produces history and works on blockchain technology, and that alone for creators can fulfill so much.
That's awesome. So, okay, let's break this down because we neither of us I told Bernie, I was like, yeah, there's this NFT thing. I kind of want to do a show on it. And he's like, what does that mean? I'm like, it's non-fungible or something. And he's like, oh, that's like, and I'm like, I don't even know what fungible means. So let's start there. So it's art, it's crypto, it's digital, it's ownership. It's what exactly is a fungible and what is a non-fungible token?
So an NFT, it stands for non-fungible token, which at this point in time means that when a creator mints a piece of art, for example, it becomes authenticated through the blockchain, which means there's a timestamp, there's a transaction that happens that brings this piece of art to become a live digital asset. And once that happens, you can make it available to the entire globe to trade, buy, or sell. And it leaves a trail of history for the creator to get dividends and royalties and things like that. So a non-fungible token is just a way to authenticate anything through the blockchain. It just leaves a timestamp that can't be tampered with and is going to be there in 1,000 years.
And
So
so
there's different blockchains out there. Currently, one of the big blockchains is the Ethereum network, which a majority of the NFTs are minted on, which just means that they've been brought to life through the blockchain on the Ethereum blockchain. So
the Ethereum one.
yes, so there's different blockchains that have different solutions for the world, where Ethereum being one of the most prominent ones, that's where a lot of the creators have flocked to because there's so much energy within the network.
Mm-hmm. So how how is that different? I guess just to compare, what would a fungible token be, as an example? Would that be like our
So a non-fungible token is a contract that can't be changed. So everything, all the properties within the contract are stagnant. They won't change throughout the life of the asset. Where a fungible token is a contract that is you can change it at any point in time throughout the life of the asset. So what blockchain does is it allows creators to kind of produce living assets on the blockchain, on the internet.
hmm,
And it gives direct ownership to the address that was minted from. So if you create the next Picasso painting and you're the only one that has it, but now you've minted it onto the blockchain will know where it came from, who the author is, and which inevitably will give the intellectual property rights to the specific owner, creator.
okay. So it's not just for digital artwork. It can be for any physical asset as well.
Right, right. So there's been a lot of work that real estate can be NFTs,
Hmm.
cars, any luxury goods can be NFTs, and they can be fractionalized. That's a subset of NFTs. Uh, I don't believe we're quite there yet, especially in areas where there's not a high population. But it's an idea that's out there, and it's growing. So I could see real estate, luxury items, yachts, different things be fractionalized in the future, almost similar to a timeshare contract where you share the rights to the item. Um, yeah, it's NFTs can produce that. But you're totally right. An NFT can be anything. An NFT can be a concert ticket. It's just a way to authenticate, to make sure that every step of the way is totally really real. And if I want to go to a Celtics ticket and now they have NFT Celtics tickets, I know I can check, I can verify because the Celtics have put it on the blockchain that they've minted these tickets. Now I can verify that these tickets are from the Celtics when I purchase them.
Huh. So
You're not
like
some scammer.
Because that's just the world that we live in. There's a lot of it, and there's nothing we can do about it. We look at all the goods that come from like fake secondary markets and things like
Mm-hmm.
that. And it's like a big industry where people are making a lot of money. So the solution to it is to input technology will solve the problems each step of the way, and NFTs are able to do that.
So, just piggybacking off of that example, if let's say somebody on like Facebook Marketplace is like, "Hey, I have tickets for this concert that I can't go to, um, and I want to sell them for like 90% of what I paid for them."
Sure.
How could I use the blockchain to would that be an example of
That would,
like
yes. You would, if those tickets were NFTs, you would look at the data on the ticket, input the hash number into the blockchain, and you'll be able to verify the ticket number is the same as the blockchain. The contract ID is the same. That means it came from that owner.
hmm, mhm,
So
mhm,
typically, creators that are verified, they'll have a check mark near their name.
mhm,
And just like when you check mark on Instagram or Facebook for a celebrity, it's kind of
mhm,
the same idea within the NFT world. So you'll look for an artist who has that check mark, and then when they're selling the NFT, you want to assure that it came from that artist uh, before purchasing it. And
makes
because,
sense.
like any industry, there's just a lot of counterfeit stuff,
Mhm, mhm,
and a lot of NFTs that are trying to copy other NFTs that make them look exactly the same, but they're not the same, and they don't have the same community, they don't have the same energy around it. So blockchain is such a fast-moving world that you can take the time to move slow within blockchain because it moves so fast to always make the right moves.
mhm.
Uh, that's what I like to recommend to people. Take your time because it's so fast. When once you make the transaction, it's going to happen. 10 minutes max. That you want to make sure you made the right transaction.
Yeah,
Uh, so it's a way to authenticate and verify, but you yourself as a user should also take those steps before even purchasing it.
makes sense. So going back to something that you were talking about earlier, as far as like from the creator's perspective, you had mentioned dividends and royalties. How does that work in the NFT world?
Yeah, so it's built into the contract. Um, Say I'm working with an artist and he wants to onboard or she wants to onboard a lot of work onto the blockchain. Before we mint, we'll agree on what they want for a creator's fee, they call it, where each sale that happens, there's a 5%, 6%, whatever the creator's fee is, will come back to the creator. And then after it sells in the secondary market, again, there'll be a royalty that comes with it, which is just the creator's fee. And so
How
it's an endless amount, a potentially endless amount of trades in the market, depending on what you're bringing to the table.
interesting. And so, um, the 5 or 6% that the creator's fee that goes back, is that just from people buying it, or are they doing some? Do they have to do something with it in order for that to go back to them?
No, it's just because they're buying it. It's just because they're the creator, and
Hmm.
now this intellectual property is changing hands. So each time from here on out that it changes hands, that creator's fee will go back to the creator, and that's all done automatically through the contract. It's all very transparent, um, and it does as it's supposed to.
Hmm. So if I'm on a marketplace for NFTs and I find something and I want to buy it, how what do I get when I like make that transaction? Like I don't actually get anything physical, right?
So no physical. It's all digitally verified. You'll have an NFT that's sent to your wallet. So you'll have proof of ownership. You'll have proof of sale and the time that you bought it. And it's a just the time where NFTs are coming to life because it's a subset of crypto, and there's just so much opportunity for creators that it only makes sense for creators to want to participate. For example, you guys having episodes on Scientifically Speaking, each episode could be an NFT,
Hmm.
dating back to all your episodes that you've had.
Yeah.
Even though they've like already been created, because like I've seen like the Nyan Cat, like that GIF, like I'm like, but that's already been out and it's replicated. How does that become an NFT?
Um, so the difference is it's been out, but it hasn't been verified on the blockchain.
Hmm.
So once it gets verified on the blockchain, that means it's going to be around for the next 1,000 years.
Good. We should put them all on. We can be around for 1,000 years, Sarah. Yeah.
It's like you can compare it to history books. It's just the time that we're alive.
Mhm.
So lucky
Mhm.
enough to have the digitization of a lot of stuff is just happening, and the plan is for this technology to be around for a very long time.
Yeah.
That's really
Why?
changing.
Yeah. So I'm sure people have different perspectives on this. From my perspective, just because of like, the places that I frequent, like online, I feel that NFTs are very popular. I don't know how Bernie feels about it, for instance. Like, I don't know if you hear about it or have friends who talk about it. No, not really.
Yeah, I
Um,
don't know. I haven't done that much with them. I know they're getting more popular, and a few other people are talking about them,
yeah.
but I have never really looked into getting one or doing anything with it myself. Yeah.
So what, Vu, why do you think that NFTs are seemingly as popular as they are now? And um, yeah, what do you see as like kind of do you still see this as like a very small area that has tons of room to grow or
I do believe it has, excuse me, a ton of room to grow. There's more blockchains out there that are going to have NFTs that verify NFTs. Um, so there's a lot of room for this to grow. But NFTs are much different than crypto. It's a
Mhm.
totally different type of investing where uh, both ways of investing, you want to do your due diligence, but with NFTs, it's the markets are so inefficient that you don't know what to expect. You can do 100 times return on your investment, or you can lose 99%. And it's just you've got to at this point in time, the market is not mature yet. So there's a lot of room for growth, and I do believe it'll continue to grow. But I also believe that 90% of the projects are just scams, and 10% of the projects, out of that 10%, 5% will make it to 2030, and out of those 5%, those will be very, very successful NFTs.
How
Where
would you define a successful NFT? Is it just based on like the value that you're defining it?
it depends on what the contract has and the properties, and also the market sentiment. I always like to find out how the market feels about an NFT prior to investing into an NFT.
How so how is an NFT at all similar to like digital rights management, like DRM?
To a degree, yes, because you become the direct owner of the NFT, which is just a digital asset. It's just a living digital asset um, that you ultimately have the opportunity to put back on the marketplace at any time that you feel if you need to sell. Which I think there's a lot of power that comes with that.
Mhm. And do you feel like an NFT, I know you've already kind of stated that it's different from crypto, but can you, and I think you mentioned like fractionalized NFTs as well. Is it at all similar? How different is it from, say, owning a share of a company, like when you're buying stocks?
I guess you could relate it to a degree because you are a shareholder of an NFT of a collection. But typically, when you buy a stock, you know what's the organization what it's about, what their aim is, what they want to accomplish, how do they want to change the world. Where some NFTs, some NFTs are very what's the word I'm looking for? You just don't know what's going to happen with them until it hits the market and how the market reacts because the crypto world is so big and it's globalized that you just don't know how there's still inefficient markets. It's still in its infancy, I believe. We're very early on the S curve, and all these technologies are going to become more adopted, become they have more use cases for everyday life, help more people in our world, but it's still early. There's
Mhm.
still a learning curve, and um, having a conversation is what's important to be able to spread what's really going on in the world. Um, so, yeah,
Yeah, it's interesting because I feel like when I, see things in like the forums that I'm in, it's usually like small, individuals who are like, look at my new art. It's on the market. It's an NFT now. But I think the most um, probably well-known person that I've seen so far is Mila Kunis. She like has a show that is an NFT. I don't know how
well,
active it is or not, but
that's 70 show. That's not the show, but that's the
yeah, yeah,
act.
yeah, the actress. Yeah, yeah. And she has like it's some kind of like cartoon and she was talking about how like the people who buy into it have like a say in the direction of the show or something like that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I read about that as well. Seems like a pretty interesting project. Um, Not something that I would invest into, but not saying that there's potential. I can't have all the answers. There's no way around it. Um,
Yeah, yeah. Are you aware of any kind of other high profile individuals or organizations who are really getting into NFTs? Like, I
yeah,
feel like, yeah,
yeah. So Gary Vaynerchuk, he's a big social media guy. He has a pretty cool NFT project that um, I believe in it because he's able to bring a community together and
mm,
educate the masses. Um, and it's called VFriends. The NFT project is called VFriends. V.
okay,
Um,
to check that out.
and then there's a lot of different people out there that are working on NFT projects, but you always want to see what's going on within the contract to assure that they're not just selling you a digital image and that's it.
Uh,
Because NFTs, a big component to them is the fact that you can attach utility, whatever utility that you want as the creator to them, and it's going to work flawlessly.
hmm. Yeah, after talking with you, this is a very different, I feel like I have a very different understanding of what NFTs are because I feel like the big criticism that I hear is that, oh, they're just pictures. And
It makes
what's,
total sense. It makes total sense that people would think that because
yeah.
if you don't deep dive in a little deeper, you
Hmm.
won't understand that there's mass utility behind some NFTs that could help your life if that's what you're looking for.
Yeah.
It's, but it's all personal preference what you choose to buy. So NFTs are no different.
Would you, I don't know if you can do this, but from your perspective, if there are folks who are creating art or creating music or, film or anything, would you recommend that they look into this?
Absolutely. Absolutely. If you're a creator of any sorts, this is the ultimatum. This is
Mm,
where you want to end up. This is how you want to release your passion to the world because you'll be the direct player. There won't be anybody in the middle of you and what you've given to the world.
mhm, mhm. And so what else do you feel like folks should understand about NFTs, and what are some like misconceptions that you hear that you feel like you want to kind of lay down here?
Um, well, it's it's still, everything is so early in this technology that a lot of people believe is just a fad.
Mm,
But what the technology is able to produce proves that it's not a fad, proves that um, any organization that provides tickets in the future is going to be utilizing NFTs.
mm,
They're going to have a creator's fee. It's only going to be make their business better. NFTs are there to help creators. They're
mm,
just like crypto is able to help those with no access to assets in most of parts of the world. NFTs can help creators who can't display their work to the world yet, but once they utilize an NFT, different marketplaces, they're able to spread what they have going on. And I think it's truly important because every artist that decides to do this is changing the way things are
mm.
from an older standard to the new digital world, which I believe you get highly rewarded for participating in the digital world. It's a reward ecosystem. It's not a zero-sum game anymore. Everybody can win, and that's just the nature of where the world is headed.
Yeah. Just jumping on that comment about, anybody that produces tickets, do you, if let's say Ticketmaster became like an NFT blockchain type thing, would would that also help prevent like the scalpers who like scoop up all
Oh
those
yeah,
tickets?
yes, yes. And it'll give you, say you buy a ticket from Ticketmaster. If you want to sell your ticket, you have the right to sell it. There's nothing wrong with that.
Hmm.
Ticketmaster is still going to get their percentage of that sale, and you'll get rid of a ticket that maybe you're not going to be going to the show or whatnot.
Yeah, yeah. Huh.
So
Interesting.
yeah,
Yeah, that's a super interesting application I didn't even realize. Bernie, what
Hmm.
questions do you have about NFTs?
Well, I was wondering if it might help like people writing things, or instead of getting something published or self-publish a book, if they can put it on somehow and avoid all those other things you have to go through. Because I'm thinking about that myself and other people that I know that are writing things. How would that work?
yeah, I think that there's definitely a place for that type of content for sure. Creating NFTs from your writing is your intellectual property rights. That's absolutely fits right in.
Hmm. Okay,
That's awesome.
good. Because that might help more people get into it that can't publish or can't even maybe self-publish something at not too cheap either.
And that's exactly it. The technology allows people that have something to offer the world not have to give up an arm and a leg to be able to offer the world what they have to say.
Yeah. I know. It's a catch-22. You got to pull this money up and you may never see it back. And then the world would have lost what they were going to offer and they can't do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, I believe it's a truly a great time for artists and creators, and I do believe in the NFT technology, but I also uh, recommend people do the due diligence,
Hmm.
really look into something before you purchase it, because, like I said, most projects will fail.
Mm.
Um, it's just in the infancy of
Right.
this technology, and
Right.
what are you gonna do?
Yeah. No, I think that's a testament to all things that are starting out, right?
Yeah.
Well, Booth, thank you so much for being on. I feel like I mentioned, I feel like my understanding of NFTs has totally like flipped
Oh,
180 degrees.
I'm so happy to hear that. Thank you. That's what I want. That's what I want to spread. That's what I want to give the world. And I'm just going to continue having conversations day in and day out with different people about it, just to make them aware. So it's a cool time for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much. I'm so happy that we're able to share all of your thoughts on the airwaves
Yeah.
here.
And please don't hesitate to ask me to come back on again, because
Oh, we
Oh,
will.
yeah.
The
When,
next
yeah.
blockchain related thing, I'll be like, let's see. And then you're probably already like years into it at that point.
Mhm.
it's it's what I like. It's what I like. It makes me happy.
Well, thank you so much, Fu.
Thank you guys.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah.
You've been listening to Scientifically Speaking here on WMPG with myself, Bernie, and Vu. Stay tuned for Something for the Weekend with Anela. And from your favorite nerds, just a reminder to vaccinate, to mitigate, and then we can all congregate.